I wake to the sound of metal scraping concrete somewhere outside, and for 3 seconds I don't move. Just lie there with my eyes closed, listening to my own breathing and the distant groan of something structural giving way. Could be nothing, could be scavengers in the building across the way. Could be the wind catching a loose door and dragging it across the floor until the hinges give up entirely. I count to 10 in my head before I open my eyes, because those 10 seconds are the only time in any day when I don't have to make decisions yet. The ceiling above me is water-stained and cracked in a pattern I've memorized over the months. Looks like a bird if you turn your head the right way, or maybe a hand reaching down. Depends on the light. This morning it's neither. Just stains. Just evidence of slow collapse that started before I got here and will continue long after I'm gone. The plaster hasn't fallen yet, but there are days when I wake up expecting to see chunks of it on my chest, dust coating my face. The ceiling opened up to reveal whatever's rotting in the walls. I sit up slowly. My back hurts where the bedroll is too thin and the concrete underneath is patient and unforgiving. I've tried folding blankets under it, but they compress within days, and then I'm back to feeling every irregularity in the floor. My knees crack when I stand. I'm not old, not even 30 yet, but my body is keeping a different count than my years. It measures time in hunger and cold and nights spent sleeping with one eye open. By that measure, I'm ancient. The room is small. Maybe it was an office once. There's a desk in the corner that I shoved against the wall and a filing cabinet I use to block the door at night. Not that it would stop anyone determined, but it makes noise when it moves, and noise is all the warning you ever get out here. One window faces east, and the morning light comes through hazy and grey, filtered by whatever's in the air today. Dust, ash, particles of things that used to be buildings or trees or people. I don't think about it too hard. I pull on my boots without unlacing them. The leather is cracked, and the sole of the left one has started to separate from the upper. I've got wire wrapped around it to hold it together for now, but eventually I'll need to find another pair or learn to walk on one good foot and one improvised mess of cloth and tape. My coat is hanging on the back of a chair, and I put it on even though the room isn't that cold. Habit. The weight of it is familiar, and the pockets are full of things. I might need scraps of paper with notes I wrote to myself weeks ago, a half-empty box of matches, 3 bullets that don't fit any gun I own, a bottle cap I picked up because for a second I thought it was one of the good ones. I check the door. The filing cabinet hasn't moved. No scratches on the floor. No one tried to get in during the night, or if they did, they gave up before putting in real effort. I slide the cabinet aside, just enough to crack the door, and look out into the hallway. Empty. Dark, except for the grey light filtering in through a collapsed section of wall at the far end. I can see the street through it. Rubble. A burned-out car. No movement. I close the door and wedge the cabinet back into place. Not leaving yet. There's a routine to mornings, and if I skip steps, then the whole day feels wrong. I light one of the candles I keep on the windowsill. It's mostly melted down, and the wick barely catches, but after a minute it's burning steady enough. I heat water in a dented pot over the candle flame. Takes forever. The water is from a cistern 2 floors down that I refill when it rains, and I've already boiled it once, but I boil it again because the one time I didn't, I spent 3 days doubled over with cramps that felt like something was chewing its way out of my gut. While the water heats, I eat 1 can of beans. I've got 4 more in the cabinet and no idea when I'll find others. The store I used to pull from is empty now, shelves stripped. Even the expired food is gone, and people are getting brave enough to pry open cans that have been sitting for decades just to see if there's anything edible inside. Last week, I found a man in the back of a pharmacy sucking on toothpaste because he thought it would stop the hunger. He was already dead when I got there, but his mouth was still open and smeared with blue. The beans are cold and thick and taste like metal. I eat them with my fingers because I lost my spoon somewhere and haven't bothered to find another. No point in pretending this is a meal. It's fuel. It keeps me upright and moving, and that's all it needs to do. The water boils and I pour it into a chipped mug and wait for it to cool enough to drink. I don't have tea or coffee, just hot water. It tricks my body into thinking I've consumed something substantial, and for an hour or so the hunger backs off to a manageable distance. The candle burns down while I sit and drink. I watch the light shift across the walls and try to remember what it felt like to have a morning that didn't start with inventory, food, water, threats, escape routes. Now it's automatic. I don't even realize I'm doing it until I catch myself staring at the door and running through scenarios. What if someone's waiting in the hall? What if the stairwell is blocked? What if the whole building decides today is the day it finally gives up and comes down on top of me? None of it is paranoia. It's just math. The world is full of variables, and the only way to stay ahead of them is to see them coming. I blow out the candle and save the stub. Daylight is free. I'll need the candle tonight when the sun goes down and the dark becomes something solid and pressing. I gather my things. My pack is light. Too light. I've been burning through supplies faster than I can replace them, and at some point soon I'll have to make a choice about whether to stay in this building or move to another part of the city where maybe the pickings are better. But moving means risk, and risk means exposure, and exposure means the possibility of running into people who are hungrier or meaner or just more desperate than I am. So I stay. For now. I slide the filing cabinet away from the door and step into the hallway. It smells like mildew and something sharper underneath. Rot, maybe. Hard to say. The building has been dying for years, and every floor has its own particular scent of decay. I keep my footsteps quiet, even though there's no one here. Even though I've checked this hallway 100 times and never seen anyone, it's just habit. Noise is information, and out here information flows in one direction. If you're making it, someone else is collecting it. The stairs are at the end of the hall. I take them down one flight and pause on the landing. Listen, nothing. Down another flight. The third floor is more open than the fourth. Walls have been knocked out or have fallen, and the whole space feels like one big room divided by random piles of rubble and debris. I can see clear across to the windows on the far side and through them to the building opposite. Its windows are shattered and black, and I've never seen anyone move inside, but that doesn't mean it's empty. Just means whoever's there is better at staying still than I am. I cross the third floor carefully, avoid the spots where the floor sags. There's a hole near the center where something heavy went through, and you can see all the way down to the first floor if you look. I don't look. I've seen what's down there. The second floor is worse than the third. More collapsed. More dark. I keep to the edges where the structure feels more solid, and I don't stop moving until I'm on the ground floor and standing near the entrance. The doors are gone. Just empty frames and broken glass scattered across the tile. The lobby used to be something. You can still see the outline of where a front desk stood, and there are metal fixtures in the walls where signs or decorations used to hang. Now it's just another empty space that offers no protection and no resources. I step through the entrance and out onto the street. The air is cool and still. The sky is overcast in that permanent way it's been for as long as I can remember. Not clouds exactly. Just a layer of gray that sits between the ground and wherever the sky is supposed to start. The sun is up there somewhere. You can feel it. But you can't see it, and the light it provides is diffuse and flat and makes everything look washed out and unreal. The street is empty. It usually is this early. People stay inside until they can't anymore. Until hunger or thirst or the need to feel like they're doing something drives them out into the open. I start walking. No destination. Just movement. Just the need to see if today is any different from yesterday or the day before that. It never is, but I check anyway, because the alternative is sitting still, and sitting still is how you start to notice how much everything hurts. There's a body 2 blocks down, lying in the middle of the street like it fell from the sky. I see it from a distance and slow my pace. Bodies are tricky. Sometimes they're just bodies. Sometimes they're bait. I stop 20 feet away and watch for movement. None. The body is on its side, facing away from me. One arm stretched out like it was reaching for something. The clothes are ragged and stained dark in places. Dried blood, maybe. Or just dirt. Hard to tell from here. I wait. Count to 30. Still no movement. No one stepping out from the buildings on either side to see if I'm stupid enough to get close. I circle around, keeping distance, and get a better angle. The body is male. Middle-aged, maybe. Hard to say. Exposure and hunger age people fast out here. His eyes are open and clouded, and there's a thin crust of dried foam around his mouth. Not shot. Not stabbed. Just dead. Could be sickness. Could be he gave up, and his body agreed. I don't search him. There's nothing worth taking, and whoever he was, he's not that anymore. I step around him and keep walking. There will be others by tomorrow. There always are. People who couldn't find food or water. People who got sick and had no way to get better. People who decided that another day of this wasn't worth the effort. The city is full of them. They pile up in alleys and lobbies and empty lots, and eventually they stop looking like people at all, just shapes, just part of the landscape. 3 blocks further, and I pass a building that used to be a grocery store. The windows are smashed and the interior is gutted. Shelves overturned, floor covered in broken glass and debris. I went in there once, weeks ago, and spent an hour searching through the wreckage for anything edible. Found 1 can of soup with a label so faded I couldn't tell what kind it was. Turned out to be cream of mushroom. Tasted like paste and salt, but it kept me going for a day. I don't go in now. There's nothing left. I know because I've watched other people go in and come out empty-handed. Desperation makes people thorough. The streets are wider here, more open. I don't like it. Too much exposure. Too many angles. I keep close to the buildings and move fast when I have to cross intersections. There's a sound in the distance, low and metallic. Could be wind, could be something else. I stop and listen, but it doesn't repeat. Just 1 note hanging in the air and then gone. I pass a playground. The equipment is rusted and twisted, and one of the swings is still moving slightly even though there's no wind. I don't know why. Maybe someone was here earlier. Maybe the chain is just loose enough that it moves on its own. I don't stop to check. Playgrounds make me uneasy. They're frozen in a time that doesn't exist anymore, and seeing them now just feels wrong. Like finding a photograph of someone you used to know and realizing you can't remember their voice. A woman is sitting on the curb ahead. I see her before she sees me, and I think about crossing to the other side of the street, but she looks up and our eyes meet, and now it's too late. Crossing would be an insult. Or a threat. Hard to say which. So I keep walking, and when I get close she nods. I nod back. She's older. Grey hair pulled back in a loose knot. Her face is lined and tired, and her hands are wrapped in cloth stained dark with something I don't want to identify. We don't speak. There's nothing to say. She's doing the same thing I am. Sitting, watching, trying to decide if today is the day she does something different or if she just keeps doing this until she can't anymore. I walk past her, and she doesn't turn to watch me go. Just stares at the street like it might offer her something if she looks long enough. The sun is higher now, but the light hasn't changed. Still grey, still flat. I'm thirsty, but I don't drink from the bottle in my pack. Not yet. I've got maybe a day's worth left, and I need to ration it until I can get back to the cistern. Thirst is easier to manage than hunger. It's sharper but more predictable. Hunger is a slow thing that spreads through your whole body and makes it hard to think. Thirst is just pain, and pain is something you can ignore if you practice. I turn down a side street and immediately regret it. The smell hits me before I see the source. Something dead, something large. I stop and breathe through my mouth, but it doesn't help. The smell is thick enough to taste. I backtrack and take a different route. No point in investigating. Whatever it is, it's been there long enough to rot, and that means it's been there long enough for anyone looking for easy scavenging to have already gone through it. The next street is clearer, lined with buildings that are mostly intact, windows broken but walls still standing, doors hanging crooked but still in place. I walk slowly and look into each one as I pass. Empty, empty, empty. Dark interiors that give away nothing. I keep moving. There's a park at the end of the block, or what used to be a park. The grass is dead, and the trees are skeletal and black. There's a bench near the center that someone has tipped on its side and used as a windbreak for a fire. The ashes are cold. I sit on the ground near the bench and rest. My legs ache and my feet hurt where the boots are rubbing blisters. I take off the left boot and examine the sole. The wire is holding but barely. Another few days and it'll give up entirely. I put the boot back on and tie it as tight as I can. Good enough. Everything out here is good enough. You aim for functional and accept that nothing lasts. A man walks into the park from the opposite end. He sees me and stops. We watch each other. He's young, maybe early 20s, thin. His clothes hang off him like they were made for someone twice his size. He's carrying a bag over one shoulder and his hand is inside it, gripping something I can't see. A weapon maybe. Or just holding on to whatever he's managed to collect because letting go feels too dangerous. I don't move. Don't reach for anything. Just sit there with my hands visible and my posture relaxed. After a moment he starts walking again. Circles wide around me, keeping distance, his eyes never leaving mine. I don't look away. Looking away is submission, and submission invites testing. But I don't stare either. Staring is aggression. It's a balance. Everything out here is a balance. He passes without speaking and disappears down another street. I sit for another minute and then stand. Time to move. Sitting still makes you a target, and even in an empty park with no one around, the instinct to keep moving is hard to ignore. I walk north, or what I think is north. The streets twist and double back, and I stopped trying to maintain a mental map months ago. Now I just go where the path seems clearest and hope I don't end up somewhere that I can't get out of. There's a building ahead with a sign still attached to the front. Half the letters are missing, and the ones that remain don't spell anything recognizable. I go inside. The door is open and the interior is dim but not completely dark. Light filters in through cracks in the walls and ceiling. The floor is covered in paper, documents, files, all of it scattered and useless. I kick through it as I walk, looking for anything valuable, anything that might be worth something to someone somewhere. I find nothing. There's a staircase at the back. I take it up. The second floor is offices, cubicles divided by low walls, desks with computers that haven't worked in years, chairs tipped over. A calendar on one wall frozen on a month that doesn't mean anything anymore. I search the desks. Pull open drawers. Most are empty. One has a dead mouse in it. Another has a box of pens that have all dried out. I take the box anyway. Pens are useful even when they don't write. You can use them to mark things, to pry open containers, to stab someone if you need to. The third floor is the same. Offices, empty drawers, useless remnants of a world that thought permanence was guaranteed. I don't go to the fourth floor. I can see from the staircase that part of the ceiling has collapsed and the floor is unstable, not worth the risk. I go back down and out into the street. The day is moving forward without changing. The grey light, the empty streets, the silence broken only by distant sounds that might be wind or might be something else. I keep walking, passing buildings, passing debris, passing more bodies. They're everywhere once you start noticing. Slumped in doorways, collapsed on sidewalks. One is sitting against a wall with their head tilted back like they're looking at the sky. They're not looking at anything. I turn a corner and find myself in a district I don't recognize. Or maybe I've been here before and just don't remember. Everything looks the same after a while. Same broken windows, same burned out cars, same sense of abandonment that sits over everything like a blanket. There's a market ahead, or what used to be a market, stalls made of scrap metal and wood. All of them empty now. The vendors left or died and no one took their place. I walk through the market slowly. Some of the stalls still have goods, cans with no labels, bottles of murky liquid, clothing piled in heaps that smell like mildew and sweat. I don't take anything. There's a reason this stuff is still here. Either it's worthless or it's poisoned or someone's watching to see who's dumb enough to try. I keep my hands in my pockets and my eyes forward. There's a sound behind me. Footsteps. I don't turn, don't react, just keep walking at the same pace. The footsteps match mine, staying close but not closing. I let it go on for a block, and then I stop suddenly and turn. A boy, maybe 15. He stops too and stares at me. His face is dirty and his eyes are too big for his head. Hunger does that. Makes your face look like a skull with skin stretched over it. We stare at each other. He doesn't speak. Neither do I. After a moment he turns and runs. I watch him go, and then I keep walking. He wasn't a threat. Just a kid looking for an opportunity. Maybe he thought I had food. Maybe he was just curious. It doesn't matter. He's gone now, and I'm still here. I find myself near the water. The river that cuts through the city is low and sluggish. The banks are lined with trash and debris, and the water is brown and thick. I don't get close. The smell alone is enough to keep you back. Something in the water died and no one bothered to pull it out. Or maybe lots of things died. Hard to say. The river was never safe, but now it's worse. People still pull water from it when they're desperate enough, but most of them get sick. The lucky ones recover. The rest don't. There's a bridge ahead, intact. I cross it, and the sound of my footsteps echoes off the concrete and metal. On the other side, the streets are narrower, the buildings taller. I'm in a part of the city that used to be dense and commercial. Now it's a maze. Alleys branching off in every direction, doorways that lead to darkness, windows that watch like eyes. I move carefully. This is the kind of place where people hide, and hiding implies intention. I pass a building with a sign that says, Hotel, in faded letters. The door is chained shut, but the chain is loose, and I push the door open enough to see inside. The lobby is wrecked, furniture overturned, the front desk smashed, glass everywhere. I don't go in. Hotels are bad. Too many rooms, too many places for someone to be waiting, too easy to get trapped. The streets narrow further, and I'm forced to choose between going forward into a dead-end alley or turning back. I turn back, retracing my steps. It takes longer than I expect, and by the time I reach the bridge again, the light has changed. Not darker exactly, just different, like the grey is deeper somehow. I cross the bridge again and head back toward the part of the city I know. I'm hungry now. The kind of hunger that sits in your stomach and radiates out, makes your hands shake, makes it hard to focus. I stop in the shadow of a building and pull out the bottle of water. I allow myself 2 swallows. It's warm and tastes like plastic, but it cuts the worst of the thirst. I cap the bottle and put it back, still half full. Good enough. A sound. Close. I freeze. It's movement. Footsteps. Multiple. Coming from the building to my right. I don't run. Running is panic, and panic gets you killed. I move slowly, putting distance between myself and the sound. I duck into a doorway across the street and press myself against the wall. Watch. 3 people emerge from the building. 2 men and a woman. They're talking, but I can't hear the words. They look organized, like they're working together. One of them has a rifle slung over his shoulder. Another is carrying a bag that looks heavy. They scan the street, and for a second I think they see me, but their eyes pass over my doorway without stopping. They turn and walk in the opposite direction. I wait until they're out of sight, and then I wait longer. Then I step out and move. I don't know who they were, but it doesn't matter. Groups are dangerous. Groups have plans. Groups have resources, and the will to use them. I avoid groups. Stay away from places where I see signs of organization. It's safer to move alone, even if it means carrying everything yourself and never having backup when things go wrong. The day is fading now, not night yet, but getting close. The gray is darkening and shadows are spreading. I need to get back, need to be inside before full dark. The streets change at night. The people who move at night are different, more desperate, more willing to take risks. I pick up my pace, navigating by memory. Turning down streets I've walked before. Passing landmarks that I've marked in my mind. A burned car here, a collapsed storefront there, A pole with a red flag tied to it that someone put up for reasons I'll never know. I reach my building as the last of the light drains from the sky. The entrance is as I left it. Empty frames, broken glass. I step inside and pause. Listen. The building is quiet. Just the usual sounds. Wind through broken windows, distant groans of metal and concrete settling. I climb the stairs, take them slowly. My legs are tired and my boots feel heavier than they did this morning. By the time I reach the 4th floor, I'm breathing hard. My door is as I left it, the filing cabinet still in place. I slide it aside and step inside and close the door behind me. Push the cabinet back. I drop my pack on the floor and sit on the bedroll. My body aches, my feet hurt, my head throbs with a dull pain that sits behind my eyes. I drink the rest of the water in my bottle. Tomorrow I'll need to refill it. Tomorrow I'll need to find food. Tomorrow I'll need to do all of this again. I light the candle. The flame flickers and steadies. I sit in the small circle of light and stare at the wall. The stains on the ceiling, the cracks in the plaster. Outside the window, the city is dark. No lights, no movement, just buildings standing in the blackness like monuments to something that nobody remembers anymore. I eat the last of my beans, cold again, thick and tasteless. I eat them slowly and try to make them feel like more than they are. When I'm done, I lick my fingers and wipe them on my pants. I lie down on the bedroll and pull the blanket over me. The blanket is thin and full of holes, and it doesn't keep me warm, but it's something. A barrier between my body and the air. A psychological comfort, if not a physical one. The candle burns down slowly. I watch the flame until my eyes feel heavy. Until the space between blinks gets longer and longer. I don't let myself fall asleep yet. Not until the candle is out. Sleeping with a flame burning is how you wake up on fire, or how you don't wake up at all. So I wait. Watch the wax pool and the wick shorten. When the flame finally gutters and dies, I close my eyes and let the darkness take me. Sleep is not restful. It never is. My dreams are fragmented and full of shapes that move just out of sight. I wake several times during the night. Each time I lie still and listen. Make sure the filing cabinet hasn't moved. Make sure there are no sounds that don't belong. When I'm satisfied that I'm alone, I close my eyes again and drift back into something that resembles sleep but isn't quite. Morning comes slowly. The room brightens by degrees, grey light filtering through the window. I open my eyes and stare at the ceiling, the stains, the cracks. The same pattern I've seen every morning for months. I sit up. My back hurts. My knees crack. I stand and put on my boots and my coat and go through the same routine. Boil water. Eat. Inventory. Threats. Escape routes. It's automatic. A script written by repetition. I step into the hallway and the day begins again. The same streets. The same buildings. The same bodies waiting to be discovered or ignored. I walk without destination. Without purpose. Just moving because that's what you do. Because sitting still is worse. Because the alternative is thinking too hard about what all of this means, and meaning is a luxury no one can afford. I pass the woman on the curb again. She's in the same spot as yesterday. Same posture. Same empty stare. I nod. She doesn't nod back. Maybe she's forgotten how. Maybe she's decided that gestures like that don't matter anymore. I don't stop to find out. I keep walking. The city is waking up, or what passes for waking up. People emerging from buildings, moving slowly, carefully, scanning for threats, scanning for opportunities, everyone doing the same dance. The same calculations. How much risk? How much reward? How much longer can this go on? I see the boy from yesterday, the one who followed me. He's sitting on a pile of rubble and chewing on something. I can't tell what. His face is turned away, but I recognize the shape of him, the way he holds himself, like he's ready to bolt at any second. I don't approach, just keep walking. Let him have his moment of peace. There's a dog in the street ahead, thin and mangy, its ribs showing through matted fur. It looks at me and I look at it, and neither of us moves. After a moment it turns and limps away. Dogs are rare now. Most of them are dead or have been eaten. The ones that remain are feral and dangerous. I've seen what they do when they're starving. Seen what they'll go for when they have no other options. I give the dog space and it doesn't follow. I find myself back at the market. The empty stalls, the abandoned goods. In daylight it looks even more desolate than it did yesterday. Like a monument to the idea that commerce and community could exist in a world like this, I walk through it and out the other side, keep moving, keep scanning, keep pretending that there's a reason for all of this beyond simple survival. The hours pass and nothing changes. The grey light, the empty streets, the silence. I see other people but we don't interact, just pass each other like ghosts. Acknowledgement without engagement. Everyone is alone out here even when they're standing next to someone else. Loneliness is a shared condition, but it doesn't make it any less isolating. I find a building I haven't searched before. Or maybe I have, and just don't remember. It's hard to keep track. I go inside and move through the rooms, looking for anything useful, anything that might extend my survival by a day or two. I find nothing, just empty space and the smell of decay. I leave and keep walking. By midday, I'm back near my building. I don't go inside, not yet, too early. I sit on the curb and watch the street. A man walks past, pushing a cart full of scrap metal. The cart squeaks and rattles, and the man doesn't look at me, just keeps pushing. His face is blank, his eyes focused on some point in the distance that maybe doesn't even exist. I think about the woman I saw yesterday, the one on the curb. I wonder if she's still there, still sitting, still staring. I wonder if she'll still be there tomorrow, if she'll still be there a week from now, or if one day she'll just be gone and I'll walk past that spot and not even notice. The sun is somewhere behind the grey. I can feel its heat, but I can't see it. The temperature rises slightly and then plateaus. Not warm exactly, just less cold. I drink water, a small sip. Ration it, make it last. My stomach hurts, but it's a familiar hurt. Ignorable, background noise. I stand and walk again. No reason, no destination, just movement. The city stretches out in every direction, and all of it looks the same. Broken, empty, waiting for something that isn't going to come. I pass buildings and bodies and debris and I don't stop. Don't investigate. Just keep moving because that's all there is left to do. There's a sound in the distance, a crash, something falling. I turn toward it and then stop. No point in investigating, it's always the same. Something collapsing, something breaking. The city eating itself from the inside out. I turn away and keep walking. A group is gathered ahead, 5 or 6 people standing in a loose circle. I slow down and watch from a distance. They're talking, gesturing. One of them is pointing at a building. Another is shaking his head. They seem organized, like they have a plan. I don't get closer. Plans imply goals, and goals imply conflict, and conflict is something I avoid. I circle around them, take a different street. The route is longer, but safer. When I'm clear of them, I stop and breathe. My heart is beating faster than it should be. Not fear exactly, just the body's response to potential threat. I let it pass, let the adrenaline fade, then I keep walking. The day drags on. The light doesn't change, but time moves anyway. I feel it in my body, in the way my legs get heavier, in the way my thoughts start to blur. I'm tired, not sleepy, just tired. The kind of tired that comes from doing the same thing over and over and never seeing any progress, never seeing any change. I find myself near the park again, the dead trees, the tipped bench, the cold ashes. I sit in the same spot as yesterday, or maybe it's a different spot, hard to say. Everything blurs together after a while. I rest, close my eyes, let the grey light press against my eyelids, let the silence fill my ears. When I open my eyes, the light has shifted, not darker yet, but close. I need to move, need to get back before night. I stand and start walking. My boots scrape against the pavement. My coat rustles. Small sounds that break the silence and then disappear. I reach my building as the light begins to fade. The same entrance, the same broken glass. I climb the stairs and reach my floor and push the filing cabinet aside and step into my room. Close the door, push the cabinet back, sit on the bedroll, drop my pack. The routine is the same, the day is the same, everything is the same. I light the candle, boil water, eat the last of my food. Tomorrow I'll need to find more. Tomorrow I'll need to refill the cistern. Tomorrow I'll need to do all of this again. The thought sits in my chest like a weight. Not crushing, just present, just there. I lie down and pull the blanket over me. Watch the candle burn. Wait for sleep. Outside the window, the city is dark. No lights, no sounds, just the quiet hum of decay. Of things falling apart at a pace too slow to notice day by day, but impossible to ignore over time. The candle dies. The room goes black. I close my eyes and wait for morning. The days blend together after that. Same routine, same streets, same empty buildings, same bodies. I stop counting, stop trying to mark time. It doesn't matter. One day is the same as the next, and the next, and the one after that. The only difference is how much food I have left, how much water, how much of me is still here. I see the woman on the curb every day. She never moves, never speaks, just sits and stares. I wonder if she's waiting for something, or if she's just given up waiting, and this is what that looks like, passive endurance. Sitting until the act of sitting becomes the only thing left. The boy stops following me. I don't see him for days. Then I see him again, but he's different. Thinner, slower. His eyes are duller. He doesn't look at me. Just walks past like I'm not there. Like I'm part of the landscape. Invisible. I find more bodies. They pile up. In doorways. In alleys. In the middle of the street where they fell and no one bothered to move them. I stop reacting. They're just part of the scenery now. Just markers of time passing, of people who couldn't hold on any longer. The group I saw is gone, or they've moved to a different part of the city. Either way, I don't see them again. I'm glad. Groups complicate things, make the world feel more unstable. At least when you're alone, you know the variables. My food runs out. I knew it would. The math was simple, more days than cans. I search for more. Spend hours combing through buildings I've already searched, digging through trash, prying open containers that have been sealed for years. I find scraps, a bag of rice with weevils in it. I pick out the weevils and boil the rice and eat it. It tastes like dust, but it's something. The cistern runs low. I wait for rain, but it doesn't come. Days pass, and the sky stays grey but dry. I ration what water I have left, small sips, barely enough to wet my mouth. My lips crack. My tongue swells. My head pounds. I go to the river and stare at the brown water and think about drinking it, about taking the risk. But I don't. Not yet. The woman on the curb is gone. One day she's there, the next day she's not. Just an empty spot where she used to sit. I don't look for her, don't try to figure out where she went. It doesn't matter. She was always going to disappear. We all are. I get sick, not from the water, just sick. Maybe something I ate, maybe something in the air. My stomach cramps and I can't keep anything down. I spend 2 days lying on the bedroll, sweating, shaking, staring at the ceiling and waiting for it to pass. It does, eventually, but it takes something with it, some reserve of strength that I didn't know I had until it was gone. When I can stand again, I go outside. The city looks the same, but I see it differently, like I'm watching it from a distance, like I'm not really here. Just a camera recording everything without processing any of it. I walk and the motion feels automatic. My body knows what to do even when my mind doesn't care. The boy is dead. I find him in an alley, curled up on his side. His face is peaceful. Like he just went to sleep. There's nothing on him worth taking. I leave him there. By tomorrow, someone else will have found him and stripped the body. Or no one will. Either way, it doesn't matter. I think about my room. about the filing cabinet and the candle and the bedroll, about the stains on the ceiling that look like a bird or a hand depending on the light. I think about how many more times I'll wake up and go through the same routine, how many more days of walking empty streets and finding nothing, how many more nights of lying awake and listening to the building groan. The number doesn't scare me. It should, but it doesn't. It's just a fact, like the gray sky or the brown water or the bodies piling up in doorways, just part of the landscape, just something that is. I find myself back at the park, the dead trees, the tipped bench, the ashes that no one has disturbed since I saw them last. I sit, not because I'm tired, not because I'm resting, just because sitting seems like the right thing to do. Like this is where I'm supposed to be. The light shifts, the gray deepens, night is coming. I should go back, should be inside before dark. But I don't move. I just sit and watch the shadows spread. Watch the buildings dissolve into darkness. Watch the world reduce itself to shapes and sounds and the feeling of cold air against my skin. A sound. Movement. Someone approaching. I don't turn, don't react, just sit. The footsteps stop behind me, close enough that I can hear breathing. We stay like that for a moment, two people in the dark, not speaking, not touching, just existing in the same space. Then the footsteps move away, fade into the distance. I'm alone again. I wait until I can't hear anything and then I stand. My legs are stiff, my body protests, but I move anyway, back toward my building, back toward my room, back toward the routine that will start again in the morning. I climb the stairs in darkness, no light to guide me, just memory, just the knowledge of how many steps and where to turn. I reach my floor and find my door and push the filing cabinet aside. Step inside. Push it back. The room is black. I don't light the candle. Just sit on the bedroll and wait. The night passes. I don't sleep, don't try to. Just sit and listen, to the building, to my own breathing, to the silence that fills every empty space. When morning comes, the light filters in, and I open my eyes and the day begins again. I don't leave the room. Not today. I sit and stare at the wall and think about nothing. My stomach is empty. My mouth is dry. My body is asking for things I can't give it. But I don't move. Don't respond. Just sit. The light shifts. Morning becomes afternoon. Afternoon becomes evening. The gray darkens. I still don't move. Don't light the candle. Just sit in the dark and feel the weight of everything pressing down. Not crushing, just present, just there. I think about the woman on the curb, about the boy in the alley, about all the bodies I've passed and ignored. I think about how easy it would be to join them, to stop moving, to stop trying, to just sit until sitting becomes, lying down becomes not waking up. It would be easy, easier than this. But I don't, not yet, not today. I sit and I breathe and I wait. For what I don't know, maybe for rain, maybe for food, maybe for something that makes all of this feel like it has a point. But nothing comes, just the gray light and the silence and the slow passage of time that marks nothing and changes nothing and means nothing. When morning comes again, I stand, put on my boots, put on my coat, go through the routine, slide the filing cabinet aside, step into the hallway, descend the stairs, walk out into the street. The city is the same. The buildings, the bodies, the emptiness. I start walking. No destination, no purpose, just movement. Just the act of continuing because stopping feels like giving up, and giving up feels like admitting that all of this was for nothing. And maybe it was. Maybe it is. Maybe survival is its own punishment. A sentence handed down by a world that doesn't care whether you endure it or not. Maybe the horror isn't the violence, or the hunger, or the fear. Maybe the horror is waking up every morning and realizing that you're still here, that you made it through another night, that you have to do this all again. I walk and the city unfolds around me. The same streets, the same ruins, the same gray sky that never changes. I pass people and they pass me and none of us speak, none of us acknowledge what this is, what we've become. ghosts moving through a world that died but forgot to take us with it. The day stretches out, endless, empty. I keep walking, keep scanning, keep pretending that there's something out here worth finding, worth surviving for, but there isn't. There's just this, the motion, the routine, the slow erosion of everything that used to make me human. By evening I'm back at my building, back in my room, back on my bedroll. The candle burns and I watch it, the same flame, the same shadows on the wall, the same stains on the ceiling. Nothing has changed, nothing ever changes, it just continues, day after day, moment after moment, an unending grey expanse that stretches in every direction and offers nothing but more of the same. I lie down, close my eyes, wait for sleep. It comes eventually, thin and restless, full of shapes that move just out of sight, full of sounds that might be real or might be dreams. When I wake, the room is dark, and I don't know if it's night or morning or some time in between. I lie there and stare at nothing and wait for the light to tell me what to do. The light comes, grey and flat, another day. I go through the motions, the routine, the inventory, the walk, the empty streets, the bodies, the silence, over and over. A loop that repeats until it becomes the only thing I know, the only thing I am. And somewhere in the middle of it all I realize that this is the rest of my life, however long that is. This walking, this searching, this enduring. There's no end point, no goal, no rescue, just this. Day after day. Grey light and empty buildings and the slow understanding that survival isn't victory. It's just survival. And survival is the cruelest thing the world can ask of you, because it means waking up, and walking, and pretending, and doing it all again tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that, until one day you're the woman on the curb, or the boy in the alley, or another body in a doorway that no one bothers to move. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the horror isn't in dying, it's in living, in continuing, in pushing through one more day when every day is the same and nothing ever changes and the world has already ended, but you're still here, still moving, still breathing, still pretending that any of it matters. I walk through the city and the city walks through me. We're the same now, both of us hollow, both of us decaying, both of us going through the motions of existence without understanding why. The buildings stand because they haven't fallen yet. I walk because I haven't stopped yet. That's all there is. That's all there ever was. The grey sky presses down, the silence spreads. The world reduces itself to motion and breath and the feeling of time passing without purpose. I keep walking, not because I want to, not because I have to, just because I don't know what else to do. And not knowing what else to do is enough to keep you moving long after everything else has run out. So I walk, and I breathe, and I endure, and somewhere in the distance another day ends and another one begins and I'm still here, still moving, still surviving, and that's the horror. Not the danger, not the loss, not the fear. The horror is that I'm still here, that tomorrow I'll wake up and do this all again, that the day after that I'll do it again, and again, and again, until eventually I don't, and when that day comes no one will notice, no one will care. The city will keep standing, the grey light will keep falling, and someone else will take my place, walking these streets, searching these buildings, enduring this slow collapse. Because that's what survival is. Not triumph, not resilience, just the inability to stop even when stopping would be a mercy.